Jo is going to lead us through this afternoon's activity, preceded by her keynote. It's my pleasure and a privilege to introduce you. Over to you.
I wasn't expecting any of that, so thank you very much. And apologies that you haven't seen a lot of me over the last day of the conference. As Stuart said, I'm the current president of this university, but I actually leave tomorrow. So I've been trying to get the office tidy. I've absolutely hoarded over the last 2 years. And there's like, you don't even want to look at what's in my office at the moment. There's like ketchup bottles as well that I've collected as well. It's a nightmare. So yeah, I'll be doing a keynote. Thank you for all coming. I wasn't expecting this many to come and hear me. But I'm really excited about the session that you'll be going to after the keynote. I'm very fortunate that a few months ago we actually went to Norway to visit the University of Bergen to plan this afternoon's sessions. And it's a really exciting activity that we've come up with where students are the facilitators, students at the heart of the discussion. They will be leading it and they will be really challenging you on a lot of ideas. So I'm really pleased that you've all come and I hope that you get the most out of it. So how are you all feeling? Nervous. No, who said nervous?
So they should be.
Yes, yeah, actually. So first of all, I want you to turn to the person next to you and I want you to ask, what have you come to this session for and what do you want to get out of it? So there you go. You have to talk. So I'm going to start off with a bit of audience participation. I'm going to put up a question on the screen. I'm going to ask you to think about it. It doesn't take a lot of thinking. It's just going to be a simple question. And here you go. Let's have a think about that. Okay. Now, have you all thought about the question? Now, if you can answer yes to that, I want you to put your hand in the air. Well, we've got some hesitancy. Okay, so if you put your hands in the air, I want you to put them down, and that's it. Okay? Who got a bit nervous then? who can sing but wouldn't put their hand in the air because they thought I'd make you sing? A few people? Who can't sing but still put their hand in the air anyway because they love karaoke? A few people, okay. So I only asked a question then that had a yes or a no answer, but instantly you began to think other things. What were people thinking? Did anyone want to share what they was thinking then? Go on, someone shout.
Do I have to sing?
Do you have to sing?
Am I ready to sing?
Yeah?
It doesn't have to be good singing.
Yeah, okay. So people started thinking things in their head. And this is a thing that happens for first year students. When we pose questions, we instantly start thinking things in our head. And when you're in a new environment, who's like me and starts rehearsing scenarios in their mind, like, oh, what's going to happen? I need to prepare myself just in case this happens. And when students arrive at university, they're instantly interacting with their inner voice. When students and staff and lecturers start engaging in conversation about student-staff partnership, there's instantly like, oh my life, what are they going to get me to do? What is the benefit? Oh my life, I'm going to embarrass myself. And not speaking that inner voice, not asking the silly questions, allows us to build up anxiety and nerves and uncertainty about the university experience. And the first year experience for me is about building an inclusive, accessible atmosphere that allows that inner voice to come out and allows students to not live in a box of uncertainty and anxiety, but to really explore what's available and not feel embarrassed about exploring. So, as well as acknowledging inner voice anxieties, we need to address the academic and social adjustments that students face when coming to university. So I did a bit of reading, I actually read something. Transylvania University of Brasov in Romania, they did this study about the adaptation and stress for first year university students. And I'll read the two top quotes. Attending university is supposed to be a very challenging experience, which could change life course for students, providing real satisfaction. However, many studies indicate that there are a large number of students who are unable to fulfil their obligations and complete their studies. The first year seems to be the most critical for university adaptation because of the big numbers of possible adjustment difficulties it can generate. Now, if you read through this study, it talks about a previous study that happened in 2002, which found 4 categories of problems which generate weak adaptation for students coming into the university environment. And those 4 are academic, students having to move into independent study, have to develop their own self-motivation to learn. They have to attend classes and keep up to date with assignments. There's expectations that they need to meet. There's new ways of learning. There's having new and difficult goals to achieve. Will I be able to keep up academically? And these are all the things that students have to adapt to academically. There's health as well. And research conducted by the National Union of Students in the UK found out that over 1,200 higher education students surveyed, 20% of those considered themselves to have a mental health problem, whilst 13% had suicidal thoughts. 92% of respondents identified as having a feeling of mental distress, which often includes feeling down, stressed and demotivated. And on average, respondents who experience feelings of mental distress, they experience them once a week. And almost 1/3 suffered mental health distress every week. And the main causes of this were to be found out to be coursework, exams, and for many students, the thing that caused the most mental distress was financial. So financial, for a lot of undergraduate students, getting a loan is the biggest amount of money they've ever received. I remember when I first came to university and got that first student loan and I was like, I've got money, I'm going to go and spend it all. And I did, and I spent it on clothes and I spent it on all the gadgets that I wanted. And that's a big responsibility. And students having to manage a budget for the first time ever, that's a huge adaptation that they have to come to terms with. Students have to also adapt to covering the cost of accommodation, of travel, of extra things that will help their studies, and then there's hidden course costs as well that they need to fund their academic success. And then the last thing that was a category in the adaptation was social and personal. There's that anxiety to make new friends, there's the social integration, meeting new people, new cultures, new relationships. There's commuter students who don't really get to be involved in that social integration and they experience isolation. There's adapting to new surroundings, new environments. There's that fear, will I get along with my roommates? Will they be able to cook? So that's a big question, you need your roommate to be able to cook. And all these categories highlight that there is a need for first year students to be supported when trying to negotiate a new and complex world. And from all the previously outlined facts, it seems obvious that adjustment to the university environment is an ample process that is mainly carried out during the first university year, and especially in the first semester, which implies a multitude of availabilities and personal resources. And when we discuss the first year experience, we're also talking about the first year transition and the first year adjustment into the university lifestyle. And so often we think that happens in the first few weeks and can simply be addressed by a few social events, a welcome week, a welcome fair and some freshers. And student unions are the worst for it. Student unions, we put on a big week in September, this is welcome week and we're going to get you integrated into university, and then we forget about it. And we forget that actually it's a year process, it's a year transition to adjust to a new environment. And for many students, it's not even about the first week, it's not even about the first semester. If we look at the whole of the first year experience, we can break that down into key events and integral experiences that support that transition. For a lot of students, it's the first night away from home, it's the first meal with new flatmates, the first night cooking super noodles, because you get to that point. It's the first time being in the overdraft, it's the first seminar, it's the first lecture, it's the first interaction with a personal tutor. It's the first time a student gets the courage to ask that silly question. It's the first opportunity to get involved in an exciting project. It's the first deadline, the first exam, the first fail, the first academic appeal. Every student journey is different and exposes students to a number of new and different things that continue for the whole of the first year. And one of the biggest academic adjustments is having to motivate yourself to study and to achieve. And in the study I discussed previously, it spoke about in regards to the health adjustments that students have to go through. And they can often feel really distressed and demotivated when transitioning into university. And motivation is a key attribute that we need to enforce in that first year experience. Young adults raised with a single-minded focus on gaining admission to university now need help translating that focus into ways to thrive on campus and beyond. Prospective students are motivated to get involved in the application process to come to university. They're motivated to attend open days, they're motivated to ask questions and explore possibilities and be engaged. Quite often it's the parents who are doing that motivation. Or quite often it might be a few of your friends who are going to the same university, but nevertheless, prospective students are motivated to be engaged in the application process. But then when they arrive at university, that anxiety takes over, there's uncertainty, and we can so often quickly overwhelm students with all the information. And that curiosity to discover, to explore the academic environment moves. So my question would be, how do we take that engagement with admissions into engaging with progression? How can we retain that motivation and curiosity and convert it into engagement with the progression? You know, I remember when I first started looking into going to university, and I was really engaged in the whole process. I applied for 4 different universities, I went to every open day, went to every taster session. I asked all the questions, I took my family with me as well and made them ask questions. I wanted to know what my graduate outcomes would be. I wanted to know everything about the course, everything about the lecturers, and everything about all my assessments. And then I came to BCU, I was really glad I got into BCU, and I was bombarded with information. Get involved in this. Come on Joe, become this, do that. We've got this opportunity for you to get involved in. And I was like, no chance. I am not getting involved in all that. And I lost that curiosity to explore. I lost the motivation to expose myself to new things because it was instantly expected of me to just get involved in them. And I had a great first year at BCU, and I learned a lot of things on my course. But I had no sense of belonging to the institution. My only identity was with textile design because I didn't get involved in anything else and I didn't want to. I wanted to when I applied to come here, but I just lost all that in the first few weeks. So in order to continue engagement from admissions to academic progression, we need to treat students as individuals and ensure that students themselves understand their own individual values and aspirations, and we need to capture and cultivate curiosity. Because students are curious when they come, but why do they lose it? It's because we just throw too much information at them and expect them to get involved in everything, where we need to treat them as individuals first, find out what they want to explore, find out what they want to expose themselves to, and then provide them with the opportunities. So can you sing? I'm not going to get you to put your hands up again. But who honestly felt really uncomfortable when that came up on the screen? You can put your hand up now, I'm not going to get you to do anything silly, I promise. A lot of people felt uncomfortable, and I asked this at the beginning of the talk because I wanted you to get an understanding of those initial anxieties, those initial nerves that students get when they come into a new environment and they're posed with something that they don't really know about. And I wanted you to understand how that inner voice, when we're thinking, oh my life, what's she going to do? How that can make us feel really uncomfortable and uncertain. But so often we can ask so much of students in universities and we can bombard students with information and we lose that childlike curiosity that students arrive with. And do you know what I call this? Fresh meat syndrome. We look at students as fresh meat and we think, right, they are going to be curriculum designers. Don't we? We'll do it. We're all guilty. And we do this. Can you be students as learning partners? Can you be students as co-creators? Students as change agents, as consumers, mentors, ambassadors, leaders, researchers, facilitators, representatives of customers, stakeholders, members, teachers, co-authors, co-designers, and the list goes on and on and on. But do you know what students want? They want to be an individual. Students want to be treated as individuals. They want to be themselves, and we can very quickly mould students into our own interests, into our key performance indicators, into our financial benefits. And there's becoming a greater need to have a detailed insight into the changing demands and expectations of students. And universities need to recognise students as individuals on individual journeys. And we need to connect with students, not contact students. There's a huge difference there. And a lot of what we do around staff-student partnership is contacting, where we need to be connecting. And you know, we come to conferences like this and we learn and share ideas about what we can mould students into next, don't we? We do. And you know what, that's great, and I absolutely admire the work that this sector does for student-staff partnership. But we understand what the benefits are for students, but students don't know that yet. They only see that our behaviour of us trying to get them involved and they get scared. So when I asked, can you sing? Who thought I'd make you sing and start to feel a bit uncomfortable? You thought I was going to make you sing. And when I asked you to sing, you only saw my behaviour. You didn't see my intentions. Now, my intentions may have been really good, but you only judged me on my behaviour. And that my behaviour made you feel uncomfortable. And when we're engaging with students in the first year, we need to acknowledge the anxieties, but we also need to explain our intentions behind the behaviour that we display. And the bigger the gap between the intentions and the behaviour, the less trust there is between students and staff. Students need to see the correlation between the two in order to buy into our student-staff partnerships. But there's two words that make a difference. So that. These are my intentions, and this is the behaviour I'll display because of that, and this is what I'm doing, so that. I'm creating a student-led module so that you can influence the design of the curriculum and input your ideas into shaping the academic experience. I'm going to ask you if you can sing so that you can understand what it's like to feel a little bit uncomfortable when in a new environment. And there's a huge difference when we put those two words in. If we're just trying to lead student-staff partnerships on our behaviour and not explaining our intentions behind that, then students will not buy into it. Students will not have that trust for the staff. If we begin to treat students as individuals, then we need to look at what the individuals want. Now, this is some research about millennials. So 84% of millennials seek to have purposeful work. And research in millennials shows that they want this purpose, so that means that our student-staff engagement, our partnerships, should have purpose also. They need to be invested into the partnership. And I also did a bit more research into portfolio careers. Now, portfolio careers is growing and becoming more popular, and it's when a student has multi-strands rather than just having one strand to their career. And the trend has been growing for quite a while now, and why has it been growing? It's because students aren't one-dimensional and they don't fit into a neat box. They have different skills and interests. The job for life concept is slowly dying. A portfolio career helps you create your career as you want it and allows students to design that as well. The younger generation actively seek more variety than older generations. People are now more used to having choice and options, and they like the idea that they can design their own career. More people are seeking meaning and purpose, and a portfolio career enables people to earn money and also give back. Mixing employment and self-employment reduces the perceived risk of going it alone 100%. And more companies are seeing contracts and projects as a sensible solution without increasing the headcount, and it gives people a scope to have a portfolio career. Students should now be designing student-staff partnership. It shouldn't be us. If we look at research, students are wanting to design their own careers, so let's let them design the partnership. Our approaches need to be innovative and fast-paced in order for students to develop quick and transferable skills that will benefit them in a portfolio career. And there's an increasing need for the curriculum to embed purpose and vision in that first year. So the narrower the skill base, the narrower the profession. You can still go quite high in the profession, but your options are not that wide. Now, if you've got a wider skill base, the bigger the scope of a self-designed career. The less narrow the path it is to achieve what you want to achieve, because there's more options available. I looked at this as well. This is Generation Z. I don't know if anyone's ever done research about that, but I love that part too. Because that is me. I live with my granddad and I'm like, oh, just check it out on the internet, granddad. And he's like, what is that? So Generation Z, these are the graduates entering the workforce in 2016. It's the generation born between 1994 and 2010. More than 3 in 4 believe that they will need work to work harder compared to past generations to have a satisfying and fulfilling professional life. Now, what can you expect from Generation Z? So they're more entrepreneurial, flexible and realistic in their approach to careers. 1 in 3 would like to retire by the age of 60, but less than 1 in 5 actually think that's possible. 2 in 3 believe technology makes them feel like anything is possible. Almost 4 in 5 display symptoms of emotional distress when kept away from their personal electronic devices. Who's going to tweet about that now? Some of you might. I'll give it a retweet after. 60% want to have an impact on the world through their jobs. 52% value honesty as the most important quality in leadership. 50% will be university educated compared to 33% of the previous generation. 26% are currently volunteering, and there's more that want to volunteer. Almost 40% say they see failure as an opportunity to try again. Students are changing. Institutions need to monitor the evolving aspirations and expectations of students coming into first year. And we need to ensure that students are equipped for when they graduate. And what I'm going to share next is my own student journey. And I've shared this a few times with people from this institution, and it just highlights that every student is different. And I spoke to Jamie, who said, I was like, Jamie, I don't know whether to share it. Like, I don't want to keep talking about myself. He was like, you've got to. I was like, okay, then I will. So I'm going to share my student journey, and it's just an example about every student coming into that first year is completely different with completely different needs. So I was born in Dudley. Does anyone know where Dudley is? Anyone from Europe know where Dudley is? No, it's a good job, honestly. Don't go there. So I was born in Dudley in 1994. My mum was disabled. She had a car accident before I was born. It left her paralysed and she was told that she couldn't have children, but here I am today. But she was also an alcoholic. So growing up I was looking after a disabled and alcoholic mum. I was encouraged to go to a church because I got told that they would look after me and take me on trips, so I did. I went and used to go on trips every week. But that has really shaped who I am today. My faith, my beliefs, my values, they really shape who I am as a person. I was then went into a school called Lee Solage High School, and then I went to King Edward's VI College in a place called Stourbridge, just by where I live. But all throughout my experience there, I was having pastoral care from people in the institutions, because my mum was constantly in and out of the hospital with her alcoholism. And on the 11th of June 2012, my mum died of liver and kidney failure, and this was the night before my history A-level. And I was like, couldn't go to my A-level exam, and they were like, Jo, you're not getting into university because we're going to have to give you predicted grades. And I was like, crap, what am I going to do in my life? But they encouraged me to sit my over A-level, so I sat in English and I sat my textiles. And on results day, I found out I got the predicted grades to get into BCU. And I'm very thankful that I came here. I did textile design. That's a photo of an exhibition that we put on. One of those little cushions on the chair is mine. But it was, yeah, it wasn't a wallpaper or a lamp. It was just a cushion. But nevertheless, I designed a cushion that went to the May Design series in London. Set up my own little design thing. I used to do freelance for a few companies. And then I graduated. There's a picture of me and my granddad. Different hair, I know. Change it every year. There's a picture of me and my dad. And that was in 2015. And then it got to my final year and I was like, do you know what, I want to do a bit more in this university. In my second and last year, I got really heavily involved in the student union and in the university's sort of committee structure. I became a student academic leader, which is like a representative, and I absolutely loved it. And I was like, do you know what, I'm going to run in the student union elections. Probably won't get this. I smashed it, and I became Vice President Voice, and I did that for a year. So my role as Voice was to look after the democratic review, it was to look after the representation system and everything education and everything academic quality. And then loved it so much, I ran for President, again I smashed it, and I've done that for the past year and I absolutely love it. Get to meet people like Lenny Henry, it's great. And that's my student journey. Every student is different. Every student comes to university for a different reason, with different needs, with different expectations. And we need to address that by not just moulding students in the first week to become something we want them to be. We need to let them be who they want to be and to hold on to the values and everything that they've gone through and really allow them to shape who they want to be as a person. I absolutely love this quote from Eleanor Roosevelt. So this conference is about student-staff partnership. And there's a reason in that phrase why student and staff are single nouns. It's because it's about individuals. It's about connecting and not just contacting. It's about celebrating individuals. It's about allowing individual students to design their academic experience and be who they want to be, not about us telling them who they want to be. So the whole purpose of this afternoon is to go away and have a think about how we can create student-staff partnership projects by looking at students as individuals.